Here we go. Okay, good morning, everybody. We are here to revise for our beliefs paper that we're doing. And today we're going to revise Christian and Muslim practices and focus on the 4 things you can see on the board: pilgrimage, Eucharist in Christian practices, and Ashura and Jihad. Don't forget, you can type in the chat if there's something else you would like to cover that's not there, or if you have any questions about anything at all, preferably about the exam, the mock exam you got coming up. Okay, so first of all, we're not going to do that crossword because I've realised it wasn't great. You are going to be asked, probably, because it was on your mock list, about pilgrimage. So did you learn, just do a hands up, if you learnt about, if you have covered pilgrimage in class, first of all, because you hadn't done it last time I did this. So you have done pilgrimage. Okay, great. Okay, and did you learn about these 2 places, Iona and Lourdes? Yeah. Hopefully you did. So this exam board wants you to know these 2 places in particular. So they could ask you specifically about Lourdes and Iona. Okay, and great, this is fantastic. So pilgrimage, the first thing to know is it's not obligatory in Christianity. And because we do Islam in Christianity, it is obligatory in Islam, isn't it? We've got Hajj, it's obligatory. There is also optional Shia pilgrimages that can take place, but you've got Hajj, which is kind of obligatory. But within Christianity, it is not obligatory. I mean, it's not something that's expected of every person or has to happen or it's not obligatory, basically. So therefore, you could argue, is it that important? This could be a 12 marker you have. Is it that important if it's not obligatory? Maybe that makes it more important because you're choosing to do it freely. You're choosing to do something like this. And it is an important practice for Christians, particularly certain types of Christians, so maybe the Roman Catholic Christians or what's called Celtic Christianity, because you are going in the footsteps of those who've been before you, where maybe a miracle has happened, or it's a really important part of Christian history, and you're sort of learning about the religion and learning about the history and taking the time to think and contemplate. Could someone put in the chat for me, what makes a pilgrimage different to just like a holiday? Or being a tourist? What do you think makes it different? Because I could I actually live really near Lourdes. I could go there as a tourist on a holiday and just go and have a look at it, couldn't I? What would make it a pilgrimage, do you think? Put an idea, everyone type an idea in the chat. Your intention, good. So what do you think the person might be intending to do? I'm just still going to let people in as they go. Oh, this is brilliant. This is fantastic. To grow closer to God, fantastic. To any other ideas, maybe to gain a deeper understanding of your faith, of your history of your faith. Sometimes people will go on a pilgrimage if they've got like a difficult time coming up, or they've been through a difficult time, or they've got to make a decision. So I've got a friend who will go on a pilgrimage when she's had like a really tough decision to make. She might go on a pilgrimage as a Christian, and it gives her that clarity and that thought to sort of really think about her decision and what does she think that God is helping her decide to do. So it can be also to get a spiritual connection. Fantastic, yeah. So it is different to just like going on holiday. So if I just went to Lourdes myself, because it's only like an hour up the road from me past these mountains, or 2 hours up the road, that would be different to a pilgrimage, because first of all, I don't believe in God, and I'd just be going to have a look at it. Oh, this is interesting. But when you have that intention of going there, so there's going to be specific actions that happen on that pilgrimage that are going to help people to do that. They're going to do particular things. So here we've got the 2 places you need to know, Lourdes and Iona. And as we look at it, I want you to think about, well, what might it be about these 2 places? I know you might have, we'll just watch a short clip of it. And then I want you to think about like, what might people be doing in these places to have that connection? Okay, let's have a go. Hopefully this is going to show you if I do that. Can you see the screen? If I do that, does it make it nice and big? And I'm going to keep the sound off. And maybe as we're watching, is it showing the video of like a horse? That's the video, that's an advert. I thought it was Lord's because okay, there you go. Can everyone, is it showing it? I'll pause it now. Is it showing the video? Just do a hands up if you can see it. Is it maybe not? No. Yes, okay, great. So if you have to think about, so this is Iona. Did you see something like this in class about what Iona is? Someone remind me where Iona is. Where is it? Anybody know? Yes, it's an island off the side of Scotland. Now look at it. It is very sparse. It's very kind of bare, very beautiful, very open. You've just got a few houses, and then you've got like the. Can you imagine like being there and praying and having the gentle breeze and look at the waters? Isn't that beautiful? Very close to nature. Very powerful place to go and sort of contemplate about God. And many people believe in Iona that it's kind of very close to God, or it's very thin between the sort of spiritual and the physical world, and they feel that they are literally getting close to God there. Many people feel that, and so they'll go there to have that quiet contemplation. Often it'll have actions to do with caring for the planet, caring for the environment. They'll learn about getting closer to the earth again, you know, not feeling this separation, so feeling really close to the earth and God's creation. They might reflect on the creation story. They might reflect on stories about Jesus with nature, talking about birds, talking about trees and things like that. So many people who go to Iona, it's for that kind of quiet contemplation, and there'll be kind of smaller groups of people who go there together and sort of have that time cut away from modern life and the hustle and bustle. So that's Iona. Let's compare that to, if I do this now, is it showing this one? Let's have a look. Again, it's going to have an advert, isn't it? Is it going to have an advert? Oh no, it's not going to have an advert. So hopefully that's showing this one. So what country is Lord's in? We got the flag there. Hopefully it's showing it. Can I repeat that? I was lagging a bit. Repeat what I said. So I said about Lord's that it is, I said about Iona that it's kind of cut off, sort of you're separate from any cities, and there's no like big motorways and aeroplanes flying over, so you're very close to nature. People feel that they're very sort of connected to God's earth and creation, not worshipping creation, but they're sort of thinking about that act of creation and how to care for the environment, and we'll come to that in a minute with what actions they might do. So what I want is to think about, how is that different to a place like this, Lourdes, okay, and it's in France. There are places like what we just saw in France, but this is a different kind of, what have we got? We got loads of you, brilliant. So if this is, hopefully it's showing you, and also this is videoed as well, you see. So if it does lag for you, you should be able to watch it back later as well. So this is Lourdes. Okay, it's in the mountains. I live in the mountains, but it's kind of, it's more built up, and you have millions of people who go there. You've got a huge church there. You've got roads. You've got, it's much more built up. You'd have processions of hundreds and hundreds of people going to somewhere. You've got people gathering together in great big groups to go and be together in this place where, will someone remind me, why is it important, Lourdes? Let me find a better picture actually of Lourdes. Why is Lourdes important? Look, I might be able to show you. You know, look at how different that is to what we saw in Iona. Why is Lourdes? Yes, there's a spring of water that can cure illness. And who sort of discovered that, or who was shown that? What happened? Actually, I'm going to take that photo, put it on PowerPoint. It was a girl who had visions of. Yes. It's very good for your thematic paper, which will be coming up later for you. Bernadette had visions of St. Mary. Fantastic. So there's a belief that Bernadette was a young girl who had, she's called Saint Bernadette because she was seen as a saint in the Catholic Church. Saint Bernadette had visions of Mary, who reassured her, comforted her, and told her about this spring of water which could heal people. And you can think about that in the existence of God unit about miracles and whether they are miraculous or not. But for many Christians, it's a very important site where Mary appeared. For many Roman Catholic Christians in particular, Mary appeared, and so people go there to go to that spot, to that site where Mary had been. And if you think about the difference between hundreds of thousands of people being there together, whereas in Iona, there might be maybe 20 people there at once, and that's it. You know, 20 people go there together and stay. That's it. Whereas at Lourdes, you might have loads and loads of people. How's it going to feel? Why might people feel? How might you feel if you're there with like thousands of people together at the same time? How might that feel for your faith if you're thinking you're going there for this connection with your faith? Why might people prefer that? And And in a minute, we'll plan some questions around it, because you could think of like, why is one more important than the other? Some people might like to be with lots of people to sort of affirm their faith, and they feel that sense of togetherness and that sense of community. We're all here together, believing this thing together. Yeah, you feel like you're in a community, exactly. Whereas in Iona, people might like that solitude, or that time to have a place to go and pray on your own and not have other people around you, and you're really just focusing on you and God. I'm not saying people in Lords don't focus on God, it's just you've got they're very different, these two, which is why I like the fact the exam board shows you two different ways of doing pilgrimage. Okay, but what happens on a pilgrimage then? Can you pick one of these icons and tell me, let's for each one actually, what might each one show us about an action that might take place in a pilgrimage? Now, you might in your exam have to do a 4-marker. You will have to do 4 markers on pilgrimage, and it would say probably something like 2 contrasting ways that Muslim Christians might do pilgrimage. So in the belief bit, it's always influence. In the practices bit, it's always contrasting. So 2 contrasting ways, 2 different things that might happen on a pilgrimage, okay? So I want to give you lots of options here. So I've got a backpack because it's like going on a journey. What could this one be? Anyone take a guess? Type it in there for me. Pray, fantastic. So prayer is one thing that's going to happen on a pilgrimage. Fantastic, fantastic, brilliant, good. This one's quite an important part of pilgrimage. Can you say the time difference of how people stay there? Walking. Yes, so can you say the time difference of how people stay there? So as in you could say 2 contrasting ways that Christians may perform pilgrimage is in Iona, there may be small groups of people staying together in one place as a small community, whereas in Lourdes there will be thousands of people staying in lots of different places, like lots of different hotels, and you know, is that kind of what you mean? Yes, sir? Or in Iona people might stay over. Yeah, fine. Yes, you could say that, definitely. Yeah, you could say that. Let's have a go at doing one together in a minute. You could say that, and it doesn't have to be between the 2. It could be like in one pilgrimage, you could do 2 things. On the one hand, some people will pray and have that connection to God and think about God and do that. On the other hand, others will walk and think about God whilst they're walking in the footsteps of Saint Bernadette, or walking in the footsteps of people who've been before in Iona. Often people will stay there, sleep there together. They might stay together in like a hostel, or stay together. Yeah, that's part of it, is that you're staying together as a community as well. You've got reading the Bible, obviously, reading the scriptures. And in a minute, we're going to talk about scriptures, because for a 5-marker, you know you need a scripture and if there's an essay, so I'm going to give you a couple. This idea of being together, you could say one thing. So the contrasting could be some people will pray on their own. In contrast, others will pray together. So that's a contrast. So some people may pray alone and contemplate God and ask God for something themselves whilst they're at a site like the water in Lourdes. Others will pray together, for example, if they take part in the Eucharist together at Lourdes, which is a nice link to the next thing we're going to talk about. I've got here like contemplating, thinking. I thought that could be quite a good thing. Some people may be suffering when they go. I guess it's not an action. I suppose I wanted to show that some people go to sort of try and ask for help with some kind of suffering. Some people will worship God when they're on a pilgrimage and they'll thank God. So I said about Iona, many people will use that as a place to thank God for the beauty of creation and what God has made, and to really think and how can we value and treasure this creation of God. I don't know why I put that. Maybe I put that because it's like hard. Sometimes it's actually just really hard to do a pilgrimage in both places, especially if you're like really ill and you're going somewhere like Lourdes. It could be a real struggle to get to Lourdes, to go around, you know, and that's part of it, is you're showing God this commitment. In Iona, people might, someone put go for a hike, they're going to be hiking over. It's not, you know, it's going to be very outdoorsy, and it could be quite a struggle. You might rather just sit on your phone in your room, but actually you go out there and walk around. Great. So does anyone know any quotes that you might use about pilgrimage? Did you learn any quotes about pilgrimage? Looking at the time, 20 past. What quote could you use about pilgrimage? Well, number one, we know that Jesus went on a pilgrimage himself. So many Christians might say, well, look, Jesus did a pilgrimage. So I'm going to do a pilgrimage. Does anybody, what religion was Jesus before Christianity kind of came about? Well, it was always this religion, actually. Oh, wow, we've got loads of people coming. This is great. Huh. Yeah, he was Jewish. And in Judaism, at the time, people went on pilgrimage to Jerusalem. And he didn't live in Jerusalem. So he went on pilgrimage to Jerusalem several times. But one time was when he was a boy, like 12 years old, and he ended up in the temple and his parents lost him. There was like all these people there on the pilgrimage going to Jerusalem. So we know he went on pilgrimages with his family. So therefore, some Christians will say, well, I want to do what Jesus did. So I want to go on a pilgrimage like Jesus did. So that's one thing you could use in a paper as to why pilgrimage is important. You could say, the Bible tells us that Jesus went on a pilgrimage with his family. So therefore, Christians may want to do a pilgrimage. But other quotes you could use are, Mary said to St. Bernadette, I do not offer you happiness in this life, but the next. And I think that's quite a nice quote you can use. And you can use it in your themes paper when you do that about existence of God, because you might be asked about visions and miracles. So write that down if you don't know already. Did you learn that quote already in class? I do not offer you happiness in this life, but the next. No? That's a really good one, because it's tricky to have quotes about pilgrimage in the Bible, so I think that's a really good one. You can use that because Mary and Bernadette is seen as a very authoritative story. So I think if there's a question about Lourdes, I do not offer you happiness in this life but the next, as she was telling Bernadette. And you could even use that, couldn't you, about afterlife in Christianity. I do not offer you happiness in this life but the next. Mary was saying to St. Bernadette at Lourdes. And then for Iona, I would use something like, he saw that it was good. You know, that's in the creation story of the 7 days of creation. And it's really, Iona is used as a place to reflect on the beauty and the goodness of like how gorgeous nature is and how can we protect it. So it's a place to really think about that. And many people will go there and then learn about being more eco-friendly and kind of connecting back to the earth again. And so that could be a quote that you could use for that. So there isn't a quote that's like, and you shall go to Iona. It's not there in the Bible. But Christians today might do it and reflect on that quote in the Bible, and he saw that it was good. But remember, it's not obligatory, but it is something that many, many Christians will do, particularly like millions of Christians go to Lourdes. Maybe I can get you to quickly tell me. Yeah, actually, I'll do this with you now. So has everyone got those 2 quotes written down? Is it okay if I move on? I might have a go at doing no. Okay, right, fine. I'll go on. I'll move on. Okay. So how might that look in the exam then? You could have like just literally which of this following is a place of Christian pilgrimage. I'll flex this here. So you know when you've got the multiple choice, they might have like loads of different places listed, and one of them might be Iona or Lourdes. So you just need to know those names because those 2 are the ones that this exam board wants you. If you're watching this video, because I do put it up online, and you're not with AQA, it might be different places you have to know. With AQA, you need to know Lourdes and Iona as 2 examples, which I've just shown you. So you need to know the names of them to spot it on that multiple choice. And it might be, the 2 marker might be give 2 things that might happen on a pilgrimage, and we've just had a list of them. But obviously the longer ones is what we're thinking about today. So the 4 marker, if it's on pilgrimage, will be on contrasting. So that could be one way is at Lourdes Christians will. In contrast, another way is at Iona Christians will, or even within Lourdes and Iona, you can show 2 contrasting ways. And in a minute, we're going to have a go at doing some of these together, joint planning. The 5 marker could be explained 2 reasons why pilgrimage is important to Christians, or it could be 2 reasons why Lourdes, or 2 reasons why Iona is important to Christians with reference to scripture or authority. So I know Bernadette isn't scripture, but her quote is seen as authority, like an authority that you can use. 12 markers, all Christians should during their life, or you could have Lourdes is more important than Iona, or you could have no Christian should do a pilgrimage. I guess I don't think they'd say that. So these are the different ways it might look. And in a minute, we'll have a go at doing some of those together. Any questions about pilgrimage right now? Any of that? If you had that on your paper in front of you next week, would you feel like anything else about pilgrimage before I move on?
You, not even you, that they talk. I talk to you. You will develop.
Everyone okay? Okay, I'm going to carry on. I'll just, if you've got any issues, just put them in the chat and then I'll know.
Yeah, there I put everything there.
So the next, oh, and there's one more quote you could use actually. Oh, we've got so many people coming. This is great. Another quote you can use that's, okay, I suppose, could be more linked to pilgrimage. And actually, the act of pilgrimage is, your word is a lamp for my feet, a light for my path. So there is quite a lot of quotes in the Bible about walking and paths and journeys. It doesn't say your word is a lamp for my feet, a light for my path on my pilgrimage, because it's not that obligatory thing in the Bible. It's not something that is, you know, expected of all Christians. But a Christian on a pilgrimage might use a quote like this to think about, okay, the path that I'm walking on, when I'm walking around up to where the fountain is in Lourdes and back down, when I'm walking around the island of Iona, you could meditate on that and think, your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path. That is quite a nice one that you could use as well. Yes, but maybe we can come back to those in a minute. Okay, hopefully now it's... So what about the Eucharist then? Someone remind me, which day of the week did the Eucharist sort of happen? So if it's the meal that's sometimes called the Last Supper, what day of the week did that first happen? In that week when Jesus was killed, crucified, and then resurrected. So it's quite good for your Christian beliefs as well. This links, I mean, they're the same, really. They're very close, aren't they? Christian beliefs, Christian practices, Muslim beliefs, Muslim practices, they're intertwined. Jesus dies and is raised again. What day of the week did this meal first take place? Does anybody remember? What day of the week was Jesus crucified on the cross? Okay, right, good. So let's type this in, actually. Yeah, let's go here. So I'm going to go here like this. So Jesus, whoops, the apple was gone, right? Jesus was, actually, no, but that's a good guess, William. No, the Sabbath is important to Jesus because he was Jewish. Jesus was crucified. That's the more reason you come back from Friday. On the Friday. And that's sometimes known as, anyone know what it's called for Christians? Have you heard that phrase before? Good Friday. Yeah. So it's known as Good Friday. You think, oh, it's death, good. But, you know, for Christians, that's the idea about atonement, salvation. Go back to the other videos if you want to remember that. So this idea of salvation comes from that atonement that happens from Jesus dying on the cross on Good Friday. So the night before his last supper, the night before, must have been well done to Zoom user, everyone. I don't know who you are, Zoom user. Must have been a Thursday. So the last supper was on a Thursday. Sometimes called more. I would just say we'll just say it was on a Thursday. So it's the last. Oh, it's Harmony, of course. Hi, Harmony. So the Last Supper was on a Thursday. So that's the night before he's crucified. Just because I want you to get the days of the week right. Oh, look, we've got Ibrahim. Oh, this is so good. So Jesus was crucified on the Friday. The Last Supper was on the Thursday. So he's doing this before he's crucified. Well, how does it link to the crucifixion? This meal. Why? What does he? How does he link what's on the board? So if you've just joined, we've just talked about pilgrimage earlier. You can rewatch the video for that. We're now talking about the Eucharist. Then we're going to do some planning, and then we're going to move after break to Muslim practices. What does he know is going to happen to his body? Yes, fantastic. Well, Daniel's here. So this is my blood and this is my body. But what does he say happens to it? Go on, you've got it. Oh, I hope I spelled it right. Good. He knows he's going to die, and he says, "This is my blood shed for you." So when you shed the blood, it's like sort of lost, or it's like exiting the body. You know, when you shed the blood, I guess. Yeah, that's, you know what shed means, hopefully. And this is my body broken for you. Yeah, he knows he will die, so he's saying that this body and this blood will be shed for you. What does it mean for you? Because it's what? This is the act of... Why is that important? Why is he saying it's for you? This is what I do. People the chance of so many people. We've only got 12 questions, and I'll have to think of some more questions for the joint planning we're going to do in a minute. For the chance of salvation. So it's a really important moment. So it's really good to know this quote for Christian beliefs as well. If there's a question about salvation, you can use it. You can use the same quotes, you know. But in terms of practices, why do Christians do the Eucharist? Because Jesus first did that on that Last Supper. So sometimes it's called the Lord's Supper, sometimes it's called breaking bread, sometimes it's called the bread and the wine, sometimes it's called lots of different names by different churches because they do it in different ways, which we'll come to in a minute. But it all comes back to that moment when Jesus said before he dies, he knows he's going to die, and that the blood and the body are represented as symbols in this meal, in this action. Because it will give people the chance of salvation. So you can even just use the quote, do this in remembrance of me. So that's a lot sort of stronger than pilgrimage, where it's like, oh, we could go on a pilgrimage if we want to. This, Jesus is saying, do this in remembrance of me. Why was Jesus doing this meal? Does anyone know what the meal was he was doing? He was Jewish. What was he doing? Yeah, Passover meal, because he was Jewish. And in that story, the lamb's blood was used to save the Israelite families. So the lamb's blood was used in place of those families. Do you remember Passover? So you could just say, you know, he was doing the Passover ceremony because he's Jewish, and he was saying, well, now I am that lamb. I am the one. My blood is now shed for you, so that the angel of death, basically, so you've got a chance of salvation because I'm going to die so that you can have salvation. So it's a really good thing to know and use basically throughout. And you could argue, is that the most important Christian practice to do? Because Jesus, it's like the whole story of Christianity seems to hang on it. Okay, and then so Jesus directly says, do this in remembrance of me. Now I've got here, take, eat in remembrance of me. We can have that, or do this in remembrance of me as another quote. So that's quite important. It's called different things in different churches, but our exam board calls it Eucharist. So that's why you need to know that it's called Eucharist. Different churches, though, will call it different things because they've developed slightly different practices around it, which we can talk to about in a minute. Almost all churches have this as a sacrament. Who can remind me how many, just a quick pop quiz, how many sacraments, do you remember what a sacrament is? Actually, first of all, I know it's not on your mock list, but it is something that could come up as a thing in your final exam. And so baptism's another example. Good. It's like a type of practice. Yeah, brilliant. It's seen as something, one way I see it is an outward sign of an inward change. Yeah. So Holy Communion, yeah, inward blessing or inward change, an outward sign of an inward change. And it's a really good one because, Salome, does every church see marriage as a sacrament? That's the question. It's really good for themes as well to know this idea of sacraments, because not all churches see marriage as a sacrament, but the Church of England and the Catholic Church both have baptism and Eucharist as sacraments. So almost all churches do view this as a sacrament along with baptism. And again, I know baptism is not on your mock list, but baptism is another one you have to know about for the exam. So most churches, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, the Catholic Church see marriage as a sacrament. Yeah, the Catholic Church has 7 sacraments. The Church of England has 2, and there's reasons why. But that's a whole other video we can do together. So you need to know the Eucharist is a sacrament. For most churches, there's one church that doesn't have any sacraments. They don't really believe in this idea of sacraments. They just say that every action or every part of life can be equally important to God, and our actions don't have an influence on that. And that's the Quaker Church. So you could say, you can say almost all Christians view this as a sacrament if it's 2 beliefs about Eucharist, you know, or 2 ways that people practice Eucharist. Why do Christians do it? Because Jesus instructed people to do it on the night before he died. And you could say it sort of reminds them of the central story in Christianity, you could argue, if you think it's the most important story, the most important thing in Christianity. Oh, crikey, you've got loads of you coming. This is great. And he's linking it to this idea of the lamb that died in order for people to live in the Passover story. He is dying in order for people to live eternally, to have eternal life. So how might that look in the exam? Oh, I haven't changed the words there. I've actually got some practice question. Any other questions about Eucharist for me? Has anyone got any questions about Eucharist? Let's put to everybody. So we've got quite a lot of you on here. So I'm going to add some extra questions on here. Can you open up this document? I thought we could do some joint planning together. So now I need to give, I'll just double it actually. I'll just double it. Okay. Right, let's go. I'm just going to pick a person and put your name next to it here. So let's go here. We're going to have Sonny here. I'm going to put your name next to it and I want you to have a go at these questions. Everyone happy to do that? If you can't type there and I put your name next to one, then yes, here. Then I'm just going along my board here. Then you can type it in the chat and I'll put it in there for you. And then you've got this. I think that's you, Harmony, Stella. I don't need people joining and leaving because then I won't be able to show William. I wasn't expecting so many people. This is brilliant. Sure. Oh, sure. I spelled that right, didn't it? There must be a way that AI would do this automatically for me. Julia. Who else have we got? Then Yasmin here. Here. Tasnia here. Tasnia here. And then who's this person who's just got a dash? I don't know who you are. Chloe here. And then I've got, where else did I get to? Yes, is it 2 yeses? Yes, Abdul. And then Sunny. Wow. And then who else have we got? Sumaya. And then we've got Sumaya. And then is that everybody? Has everyone got one? If I put your name next to one and you can't type, just tell me in the chat and then you can just type it in the chat and I'll put it in there for you. So I will then get rid of those. Great. So you can, oh, who's that person? You can, it's up to you. You can type the whole, why don't you try and type the whole thing? Or you could just bullet point it if you haven't got time, if it's just hard for you to type, like say you're on a phone or something. And I'm just going to show the RE teachers because they like to know what we're up to. They like to know what we do on a Saturday. If you're stuck, what's your question? Oh, you are Dash. Your one is this one here. Explain 2 contrasting ways that a Christian. What's your name? Who's just put what's my question? 13. Number 13. Who just joined us? Is that everybody in? Somebody just joined. Who's Dot? Someone's just joined now and they've only got a dot for their name. Who are you? Because I can give you another question. Or are you a person who's already joined before? If I do that, is it still sharing? So I'll double check that I'm sharing the right thing. Okay, great. Oh, great, Samaya. Let's put that in here. Yes, Samaya. Same reason. I see you. Doesn't have the same direct connection to core beliefs. Second, Eucharist of universal significance, celebrated for all Christians because of their vocation or ability to undertake a pilgrimage. Specific locations and not accessible to everyone. Great, Samaya. Did you just type that just now? Okay. And Chloe. Miracle. Yeah, good. Okay, great. That's good. Brilliant. Okay, let's just let everyone do that for a minute, and then I want to have a go at a quick Kialo. And I know last time I didn't put the links up. I will do today, everybody. I will do today, I promise you. I'll put them all up. Okay. I'm actually going to do it between two places. No, actually, I'm going to do this. So those who've just joined, we are just joint planning together. I'll put the link on here again. Have a look at these questions as people are typing them. You might not have a chance to write in them just yet because everyone's busy typing away. But you could maybe help out someone who's got a bit of a gap. We could help Prince Yasir here. We could help Yasmin. Sorry, there's a few ones with the gaps there, so you can have a go at typing in there if you want, just whilst I get the next thing set up. We have been revising pilgrimage and Eucharist. Yeah, let's just do a simple one like this. Great. Okay, let's have a look at some of these answers then. Fantastic. Okay. And I will just get this set up here. And we are going to have a go at this Kialo together in a moment. We'll just spend 2 more minutes on the retyping here, and then we'll switch to the Kialo in a moment. To do a 12. Like I've got writing paper. Oh, you've done it through your camera. You're showing it through the camera. Let me go back. Oh, okay. How can I make that bigger? So that's brilliant. Let me go. How do I make that pin? Do I pin you? Pin it. Oh no, and then how do I make it so I only see yours so I can take a screenshot? I can't read it. Put it sideways the other way. How do I do it like that? Okay, right, here we go. And I'm going to screenshot it. Oh no, put it the other way. Go back up the other way. Great. And then hold still, hold, stop. Great. Oh, brilliant, you see. Okay, and then I'm going to basically look at how snazzy we are. Which one were you? What number were you? Here we are. Gotcha. There we go. Look at that. Okay, so let's have a look through some of these. 1 more minute typing. So, Salami, were you writing yours somewhere? Oh, you're writing it there. Great. So we got 2 contrasting ways. Christians perform a pilgrimage. We might have walking, praying. There's 2 contrasting ways, and we can explain them. So walking would be around the site and thinking about those who have walked before, e.g., Iona, St. Columba, or Bernadette in Lourdes. Okay, good. Praying, they might pray to ask for help for a difficult situation, or it could be pray for healing. Iona, Lord, sorry. Okay, Why is Lourdes a significant place for Christian pilgrimage? Prince, were you able to, have we lost Prince off the call? Why is Lourdes important? Is it showing the, these questions? Shall I make it bigger so we can see what we're doing? Here we go. You're back. Okay, he's back. Do you think you can type it in here, or do you want me to, you can type it in the chat and I'll put it across to you? Yes, sir. Look at this. You see, he's written it by hand. Pilgrimage is important to Christians. This is a way to get closer to God. If Christians have a bad time, they're going to go on a pilgrimage. Christians do because Jesus did it. Another reason is because the vision, because of a reference when Bernadette. So what I'd like you to do is explain a bit more, you see. Like, you've got 3 points in there, really. You only need 2, but they need to be explained. So you only need 2 points, but each one sort of needs to have an explanation. So I'm going to take one of your points here. You've got 1, 2. So you've got, I reckon you would have pilgrimage is important to Christians, they get closer to God. If Christians are having a bad time, they would do a pilgrimage. Good. But I want to know how this is going to help them get closer to God. Like, what is it about it? On a pilgrimage, they will be able to pray more to God, think more about God, dedicate time to think it. Like, what is it about the pilgrimage that's helping them get closer to God? Yeah. So make that clearer as a link. And then your second point, Christians do it as Jesus did it. Brilliant. You can now explain that. You don't have to stick another one in about Bernadette. You only need 2 points that I explained to get the 4 marks. Yeah. You've kind of almost got 4 separate points in there. Just pick 2 of them and then you do 1 point and then you explain it. So let's take the second one here. Christians do it. I hope you don't mind me showing that to everyone. I think it's just really good for everyone to know how you get these marks in the exam. You know, what is it you need to do to get the marks? Christians do it be as Jesus did it. As a child, you could say, to Jerusalem. And one way that I think is really good to do it is using this phrase, this means that. I don't know if you've used that in your exams before. By putting this means that, you're still linking to what was before, but you're explaining it more. Oh, there's a rhyme. Link to before, explain it more. So you've got that 1 point that you're explaining. So you get 1 mark, 2 marks. So you'd get 4 out of 4 instead of, yeah. So this means that, what we're going to say, this means that Christians will take part in a pilgrimage to live life as Jesus did by following his actions and practices. I'm not bringing anything new in, I'm explaining the point I've made. That's so important for your 4 markers, 5 markers, you know, you've got a lot in there because we've obviously talked through it all, brilliant, but then you can explain it further. Good, okay. Let's have a look at a couple more, if you don't mind me having a look at it. Let's pick, why is, no, that's what we're going to do as a 12 marker in a minute. In a 12 marker, 15 minutes is what you can have if you have done the earlier ones a bit quicker. If you think it's a minute a mark in the exam, then that's quite a good way of thinking about it, because you've basically got as many minutes. You've added more. Oh, great. Okay. Oh, I don't know how to take a photo of it. Let me see. Okay, hold it really still. Oh, see, I can still teach you from France, can't I, everybody? Let's have a look. Where are we? Let's add it here. This is good. This will help them get closer to God as they, yeah, brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. So you're explaining the point that you've made more furtherly, more betterly. Okay. So yeah, how long the exam? You basically it's a minute a mark, but if you think about it, 1 mark for that multiple choice, you don't spend a whole minute ticking the word that is the answer for the multiple choice. You could do that in 30 seconds. Gives you 30 more seconds for your 12 marker. The 2 mark, give 2 things Christians are doing in pilgrimage, pray, walk. That doesn't take 2 minutes. So you've given yourself 2 more minutes or a minute more for your 12 marker. So you're shaving off a little bit at the beginning to give you time for the 12 marker. 15 minutes is what you want for your 12 marker, really. So you've got a little bit of time to plan and then write. Give yourself 12 minutes, 15 minutes on your phone. Practice some of the questions. Practice some of the ones I've given you today. Can you do it in that time? How does it feel? How can you speed yourself up if you need to? Set your phone a 15-minute alarm, or tell someone in the house, can you tell me when 15 minutes is up? Have a go at doing it and then see how you've done. have a look at your notes, shut your book, have a go. Yeah, this is the things, and then you can send them to me if you want, if you want it marked. Just the process is important, but if you want it marked, take a photo, send it to me on Google Classroom or email me if you like, or your teachers, and I can have a look and say to you, oh, I think, you could improve it like this or that. Right, shall we have a go now at, oh, this is so good, isn't it? Why pilgrimage is more important than Eucharist. Okay, we can come back to that in a minute when we do my 12 marker. So Famida, do you mind if I show this one to everybody? One way a belief in sin will influence a Christian is it will encourage a Christian to avoid sinning but do good deeds to not go to hell. Another way the belief in sin will influence a Christian is that it will influence them to want to get baptized, be cleansed of their sins. This is because Christians believe we're born with original sin and would want to get baptized. Brilliant. I think we could just develop that one a little bit more to get 4 out of 4. And in your exam, another tip I'm going to give you is to leave a line between your 2 points. Really get in the habit of separating it out. So I love your phrasing here. One way a belief in sin influences that. Fantastic. And then here, I want us to have this means that. By doing good actions, God will allow them to spend eternity. Something like that. Or with 3 L's, allow them to spend with him in heaven. And then a gap, a line, leave a line, and then another way the belief in sin. I love it. I love the way you phrase that. And this is because, or this means that. So you are doing that explanation. If you leave a line, then you're really helping your examiner see 2 completely separate points. So you know how with your CR, I was looking at yours, I was trying to work out where are the points. So this examiner for this paper, you're always like, look, where's the point? Where's the explanation? And you're having to find it, which is fine. We do that as examiners, but you want to make it as easy as possible for your examiner to give you those marks, okay? Because they might be marking in the evening. They might have a six-year-old sleeping next to them. They are people just like me, and you want to make it, I want you to just make it simple and easy as possible for the examiner to be able to give you all the marks. Okay, I do want to have a go at planning a 12 marker together. And with so many of us on here, I think this is going to be brilliant. So now you can still have that link and have that document for your revision. Brilliant. Look how many ideas we've got there. We'll do the same thing for Muslim practices after the break. But for about 5 minutes now, until we take a break, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay that side. I want to do this. I'm going to give you my Kialo link, which is here. Yes. I hope. We go like that. There we go. So hopefully it's showing that. And if I give you the link, everyone in the chat, let's have a go at planning this. And if you can't get in and type and you want to just tell me, I'll do the same thing. Hopefully everyone is now. Has it shown up something like this for you? Hopefully it has. Can everyone get in this one now? So come out of the word one and go into Kialo, and we can type some things. Type what you like. Hopefully it's going to let you join. Shall I get it started? Eucharist is a more important Christian practice than pilgrimage. I'm going to argue pilgrimage is a choice that people. Has the link worked? Because no one's typing in that. Has it worked? Is everyone in? Yes. Okay, great. Because otherwise, I think I'm just yeah. Okay. So everyone write a point, argue back. Doesn't matter if we repeat things or if you just want to add on to something that someone said. You can sort of agree with them. Click the green one. Yes, brilliant. Because it was done by Jesus. Good. His statement is strong. As pilgrimage can be hard to do. Yeah, that's important actually. You're not in. Okay, shall I? Does the link work for you? It won't allow you. You'll just watch. You can type it here and I can add your points if you like. Oh, that's a shame it won't allow you. Never mind. Oh, I shall write to I know the people who run this website, you see, so they always want feedback. What does it say when it says it won't allow you? If you tell me, I can tell them and they can fix it if it's a glitch, because they want to make it as easy and simple as possible for people to be able to join this sort of thing. Okay, I'm going to have a little argument with someone. I'm on Ken decide. Okay, Ken decide. Okay, I want to have a little argument. I'm going to say here, yes, but Jesus. Oh, you're in. Okay. What else do I want to say? So you can pick a quote. You could pick, oh dear, right, come on, team pilgrimage, let's get some more pilgrimage quotes in. It's only done, yeah, fantastic. It's only done once in a lifetime. Pilgrimage. So much. We could do this for pilgrim. It's fine. Don't worry if there's tech problems. Absolutely fine. I've recorded it, and you can go back. You can add to this. Hopefully, you'll be here for the second session. I know tech problems very well, so yeah, don't worry at all. Let's have a look. Let's get some more on team pilgrimage here. Why is pilgrimage more important? Because pilgrimage links you to Christian history post Jesus. So is greater. So I think, yes, I think that pilgrimage links you to like Christian history as a thing rather than just this moment, you could argue. Not everyone can afford to go to pilgrimage. Yeah, not everyone can afford to go. Pilgrimage is hard to do. It was done by Jesus. Jesus said, do this in remembrance of me. One of the only sacraments Protestants do is Jesus actually did it himself. Come together as a community to remember God. And I'm going to say yes, but isn't a pilgrimage shows the greater community? Christians from around the world together in a place like Lord's. Good. I'm also going to say, a bit cheeky because we didn't talk about it earlier, Iona, I don't know if you've heard that Iona also has a big interfaith thing where people from different religions go there together. They believe in like bringing people of different faiths together to Iona, all as part of God's creation. So pictures of Iona, you might see like lots of different people, Muslim, Sikh, Hindu, Christian, atheist, all coming together in Iona. So that's a point you could bring in and say, you know, perhaps that's more important because many non-Christians might not do the Eucharist, whereas non-Christians can come together with Christians for something like pilgrimage. Also, I'm going to say, and again, you might not have this in the exam, but I think it's quite nice. Like, a pilgrimage like somewhere to Iona is showing can help people think about their actions and change their life to make a better world. So often people might learn about I don't know, like farming, solar panels, different skills for living closer to the earth again and like treating the planet better. So you could say at a time like in today's world with the climate crisis, maybe places like Iona that can be giving Christians skills to care for the planet more is more important. Should we put that in? Oh yeah, okay. And then what else have we got? We got a little argument. Who's this arguing here? But Jesus took part. Yeah. It symbolizes the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross. How can I argue against that? That's quite tricky. I can't really argue against that. What could you argue back to that? It's most important because it represents the central event in the Christian faith. It symbolizes the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross. I'm going to say son. That's the only thing I can argue back is some would say you don't need the Eucharist to remember that event, but it can be remembered in many different ways, perhaps. Okay, and then how would I argue back to that? Yes, but that still comes from. Brilliant. I just like it to have a nice picture. So you can now pick one of these that I've got to argue back. If you like, what other points have we got here? No. Let's try and argue back to my pilgrimage once. Pilgrimage is only once in a lifetime. Jesus' pilgrimage is. Oh, I just put something here. It's still. Oh, that's me. Okay, great, good. People can't do it because of financial problems. Doesn't need to be done and it's optional. Good. So what have we got here? Not everyone can afford. People can't afford it. Brilliant. And then you sort of have to think, well, what would you actually do in the exam if this was the question you had? I don't think they would phrase it like that. It just might be something like Eucharist is the most important or pilgrimage is the most important. But because they're the two that are on your mock topic list, there's a high chance that one of those will be in a 12 marker and you could use some of these points. Haven't got any quotes in though. What quote could we put in? I'm going to have here, I'm just going to stick a couple of quotes in so that people have got these. What else did we have? I do not offer you happiness. But next. And then I'm going to stick in the other one about creation. Where did I have the one about the Bible? About thinking about creation. I'm going to put it here. Okay. Now, can you, before we take a break, and then we will take a break in a minute, you can vote on them. So even if you haven't written anything, you can have a vote. So you can pick on one, hopefully, and then give it a vote as to whether you think it's quite a strong point or not. You might even be able to do a little thumbs up. No, you can't. Or you could thank a person. There you go. Thank you. So you pick a vote here. Oh, I haven't enabled it. Don't worry, we can't vote on it. I'll do that the next one we do. Okay, shall we take a break now? Come back at 10:15. Oh, Matthias is just coming in just in time. Should we take a break? You can keep typing if you like. We'll take a break back at 10:15, where we will switch to Muslim practices. We're going to talk about Ashura and Jihad and do some more essay type questions. I might try and find a Kahoot. I'll see if I can find one. We can come back at 10:15. Everyone happy with that? Yeah? Great. everybody. Okay, welcome back. We are going to carry on revising together for our mock. And today we are going to talk about Ashura and then jihad as two things that people would find useful to cover. Is in the mock coming up for you this year. If there's something else you want, just type it in the chat. Okay, and then I can help you with that too. So I'll just keep my chat open. And we've got everyone in. Brilliant. Okay, so Ashura is an important date. It is actually important for both. Oh, no, not share, sorry. Slideshow. It is in, let me check, is it showing that now? Does it say Ashura, an important date for both Sunni and Shia Muslims? Yeah, brilliant. So it's an important date for both Sunni and Shia Muslims, but for slightly different reasons. And from when I was learning Arabic, I remember that Ashura means 10. So it's the 10th date of the month of Muharram. So it comes from this idea of it being that date in the calendar. And it is important for both Sunni and Shia, so you can use that in your exam if it says contrasting ways that Muslims will. So just make sure you look at the question. If it says, and in a minute we'll have a go at some, if it says contrasting ways that Shia Muslims will remember Ashura, then obviously you're only talking about the Shia side. If it says contrasting ways that Muslims, then you could talk about both because it is important in Sunni Islam as well. So here's a picture depicting remembering something that happened in Ashura. Here's something Muslims might do today in remembrance of Ashura. And this is an image you might be familiar of, this action that sometimes takes part in Ashura remembrances. So why is it important in Sunni Islam? Well, in Sunni Islam, some Sunni Muslims would choose to fast on the day of Ashura because that's what the Prophet Muhammad did. And it's not obligatory, so it's not like, say, fasting with Ramadan. It's not, or Psalm you would call it, it's not obligatory. It's not one of the 10 pillars. So 10 pillars, 10 it's not one of the 5 pillars or the 10 obligatory acts to do fasting on Ashura, but it could be done because the Prophet Muhammad did. And so it's seen as sunnah, it's seen as an action the Prophet Muhammad is believed to have done. So therefore some Muslims will choose to do it today. And it's said to make up for sins that have been committed through that year. It's something the Prophet Muhammad did because he saw the Jewish communities doing that. Because remember, there's a lot of links between Islam and Judaism. And the Prophet Muhammad was always, told in the Quran and always viewed Islam as a continuation of Judaism and Christianity, those Abrahamic faiths. So it reminds Muslims of that link because that's what many Jewish communities did, fasting on that day as a way of remembering God's work of saving people of Israel in the past. Stop typing. What, me? Or is someone typing? Cool beans. Oh, can I shut the chat? I wonder if I can shut the chat. I wonder how I do it. Do that. Now try and type something. Maybe you can only type to me now. Hopefully you can only type to me. Yes, I should have done that earlier, shouldn't I? Okay, great. So for Sunni Muslims, Ashura can be important because the Prophet Muhammad fasted on this date. So you could use a quote for this: on the day of Ashura, Allah has not enjoined its fasting on you, but I am fasting it. So that's quite a good quote you could use to say some Sunni Muslims will fast on Ashura because the Prophet Muhammad did. So it's sunnah to do it, but it's not obligatory. So not all Sunni Muslims will necessarily do that. But really, why do we know about Ashura? Why is it significant as well? I mean, obviously that part as well, but why else do we know about it? We know about Ashura because in Shia Islam, it's a very, very important, I'm not going to say festival because it's not really about celebrating. The word we would use is commemoration or in remembrance of. So a bit like Remembrance Day isn't really a festival, is it? The 11th of November when people wear the poppy. We wouldn't call that a festival of like war remembrance, would we? We'd call it a commemoration or remembrance. It's a little bit like that for Shia Muslims when they remember Ashura. Just before I move on, who can remember something about it? Like, why is it important in Shia Islam? You can type it in the chat to me directly and I can say what you write. Who can remember? Like, why is it connected to Shia Islam? Like, what is it? The death of Imam Hussein. So already we've got that link to another important belief, the Imamate. It commemorates, good word, Chloe, it commemorates the martyrdom of Hussein. So it's to do with remembering the death of this person. So you do need to know what it means to call him an imam. It doesn't just mean like the local imam of a mosque. So if you aren't sure about that, and that is something that may come up in your mock because the 5 roots of faith in Shia Islam are on your list, aren't they? That is ad-din. Watch the video we did last week. Watch the one that's on my YouTube channel. I do sound like a YouTuber now, don't I? I've got a video on the imamate. So I will refer to it, but I'm not going to go into it in great depth right now for you. So you do need to know that he is seen as an imam. So it's a very special position that he has. Not a prophet, not God, not divine, but a very special position he has as an imam. And he is martyred. So martyring means he's kind of died for his belief or died for something he believes in so strongly, and then he's been murdered for it, basically, because of this belief that he had, or this, the belief he had that he should stand up against injustice. Okay, let's remind ourselves then a bit about this story. So Ashura was the date when the Prophet's grandson, Imam Hussein. So he is still important. You could argue, Sunni Muslims as well look back on this story and feel sad that someone in the Prophet's family died in this way, because the Prophet's family are important, but they're just not seen as imams in the same way, yeah? So you could argue in an essay, if one comes up, well, perhaps Ashura should be important for all Muslims because it's remembering the death of someone in the Prophet Muhammad's family. And, Sunni Muslims too look back and think about those people. And, if we've got hadith where the Prophet Muhammad is like praying, and then his grandsons are climbing over him, and he's got this closeness to his grandson. It's another hadith where he comes back from a battle or a journey or something, and then his grandsons, who are like toddlers at the time, run up to him and he holds them and he sort of puts his face in them and snuggles with them. I don't know if you've ever done that with a toddler relative, and you hold them like this, and that is a really powerful story, isn't it? So he was important to the Prophet Muhammad. So maybe all Muslims should remember this story and think about it. And I think it's even more important when I think of the fact that Prophet Muhammad had a son, Ibrahim, who actually died, which is really tragic. So think of how amazing it would have been for him to then see his own daughter have grandsons, you see. So I do think it can be a very powerful story for all Muslims. But it has this sort of special significance in Shia Islam because of his role as the Imam, and also because of the kind of that story of how he was then martyred because he stood up against the Sunni Caliph at the time. So in the Sunni Islam, you've got the Caliphate, starting with Abu Bakr. In Shia Islam, you've got the Imamate. So you do need to know these things about the history and the kind of beliefs in Islam for it to make sense. So you've got a Caliph who is Sunni, who was seen at the time as being corrupt, unjust, unfair, oppressing the poor. And the Prophet Muhammad's grandson, Hussein, is told by Muslims who are living under this ruler, who they call out to Hussein and say, look, you're the Prophet's grandson, you come. You must know the faith better than this corrupt ruler that we've got. You come, we'll fight with you. Come, fight, we'll stand with you. Let's overthrow this corrupt ruler and have you as a good, just, fair ruler. Am I going too fast? Does it make sense? Have you heard this story, everybody? Is any of that brand new? Exactly. Well done, Ryan. I think you could link that to his idea of it being the lesser jihad. Yeah, definitely. This idea of standing up against injustice and something that's unfair. Now, what's important in the story is that they promised that they would. I'll come talk to you in a second. They promised that they would stand by his side and fight with him. Does anyone remember what actually happened? Who remembers what happened? Oh, it's new. Okay, so Ashura, but you knew it was about the martyrdom of the Prophet of his grandson. Hopefully you knew that bit, yeah? And then maybe we can have a go at doing an answer together here, and it'll help you put it together. What actually, because it's just important to say why some of the actions that happen are, and why is the story so important. The people promised to fight beside him. They said, if you come, we don't like this ruler. If you come, and just to let you know, many Sunni Muslims also look at how have you done that? You did that last time, Ryan. I don't know how we stopped that. I don't really want that on there. Okay, give me a second. Can you? Okay, fine. If you do it again, I might have to not have you in the meeting. So what was I saying? So, oh, that's not you. Okay, fine. What is important is that people promise to be with him, and many Sunni Muslims will say, yeah, he was a corrupt ruler. He's not one of the rightly guided rulers. He's not one of the kind of Abu Bakr or Umar or one of the rightly guided ones, he comes after that, and yeah, he was corrupt, fine. Muslims accept that, you know, some of the rulers haven't been perfect, and so the Muslims at the time said, if you come, we will fight with you. So he travels to go and fight with him, but what happens is the people never come. They don't. Maybe they got scared, maybe it was a trick, maybe it was a trap, or maybe they just got scared and thought, actually, I can't fight with him, I can't do it. And so he's in the desert, traveling to go to where the Caliph is, and he ends up in the desert, and where Kabul is now, he ends up encircled by the army from Yazid. And there's stories that say it's 3,000 or 30,000 people circle him in the desert and trap off the water, trap off the food, and they're encircled in the desert, and then they are basically, he's killed, and this story is retold. But he does have a band of people who join him as he's traveling. So this story is sort of retold through Ashura. The story of Ashura is retold in Shia communities at the mosque or at home. This story is retold, and it's when I've been to, because I've been to a mosque where I went to hear the story being retold by a guy who was a Shia Muslim, sort of taking us through what happened. And it made me think a lot of when I was a Christian and we used to go to church and listen to the story of Jesus being killed, and we would listen to that story and how everyone chanted, crucify him, and how Jesus was abandoned and then left and then killed. So it's a bit like that. When I took part in a remembrance for Ashura, we were told the story and I was remembering, it's like Shia Muslims are sort of putting themselves back there. Would I have had the courage to fight with him and for justice, or would I have been on the other side and abandoned him and left him? What would I have done? And they're kind of remembering putting themselves there, and they're almost like asking forgiveness for those people who had abandoned him. So you have this like remembering the pain and the physical hardship he went through when he was brutally murdered. I'm not going to describe it too much now, so my 6-year-old is just sat over there. But that's why it's important to remember that kind of thing about being abandoned and which side would I have been on. And then Shia Muslims will look to now, look to situations now. Which side do I want to be on now? Do I want to be on a side fighting for justice, freedom, which is why many Shia Muslims will take a moment like remembering Ashura to do things like this, protests against terrorism, protests against injustice. And some, okay, just turn it down a bit. And some Muslims, Shia Muslims will, for example, choose to donate blood on a day like that because it's shedding the blood as Hussein did, but they're doing it in order to help other people. So in Lebanon and Iraq, for example, there's been blood donations given. You may have heard of Ashura, though, for some minority, I'm going to argue, Shia Muslims may take part in the kind of whipping thing that happens. That has been sort of, the leaders have said that's not right and it shouldn't happen, but obviously that's really sensational. And if you were to Google it, that might be what comes up, all these like shocking pictures. Actually, for the vast majority of Shia Muslims, that's not something they take part in. Like I say, the thing I went to in London, this was what people did. They just sort of hit themselves like this, and then it's just a physical kind of, you know, reminder of the pain that he went through and where would I have been. Let's go back to the Shia Islam bit here. Any questions on what I've said so far? And even if it is, some Muslims would argue, you know, you shouldn't harm yourself. So some Shia Muslims, I've said like a minority, and it's the leaders have said it shouldn't happen, might end up hitting themselves with something that causes them to bleed. Okay, you might say that's wrong because you shouldn't harm yourself, but then in religions, people do things that get, well, yeah, that's why I'm telling you about it. You have covered it in class, haven't you, Ashura? I hope you have. Ashura, I'm hoping you have. We can have a go at an example question together in a minute as well. So in religion, sometimes people, you know, people might fast and they go hungry. I know you're not harming your body, but you are. Sometimes we do physical things related to our religion, don't we? That does happen in different religions. And some Catholic monks in the past used to whip themselves when they were asking for God's forgiveness. So it's not necessarily the only group that might do something like that, and it's only a very tiny minority. And really, you just imagine I know someone who's an examiner who is a Shia Muslim, he's written textbooks on it, you know, just imagine that the person marking your paper is Shia. Are they going to want to read, you know, what are they going to want to know that you know about this commemoration? Just that some people might whip themselves and then they bleed, or something bigger, deeper, that is more significant to all Shia Muslims? Should we have a go at a question together then, I think? I was going to set you off doing ones on your own. Maybe I could have a go at doing one, and I can put a timer on the board or something, or someone can time me. So I've got a couple of quotes here that you could use. Oh, pilgrimage might take place as well. Remember I said that in Islam there is the obligatory pilgrimage for Hajj, but also there is an optional pilgrimage that many Shia Muslims will take to go to Karbala as well, as part of remembrance for this. Bring it here. Okay, let's have a go at, so I've got some quotes here. I leave you two weighty things, the Quran and my family. That's a really good one that you can use. It's a Shia version of the Hadith to say that the family, the Prophet Muhammad, are very important. That Imam Hussein was the family of the Prophet, so therefore it's important to remember his death. You could have the lesser jihad as well. I'm just going to stop my video so that he's not. And then you could have, okay, go on then. This quote from Imam Hussein. So you can use that as well, even though it's not like a hadith about the Prophet Muhammad and it's not from the Quran. You can use this quote: God will help the person who cares about other people's needs, both in this world and the hereafter. So this idea of standing up for people who are oppressed, standing up for those who are in need, is very important thing associated with Ashura. Okay, let's have a go at doing maybe you could have, let's have a go at doing a quick 5-marker together on the Shia understanding of Ashura, and then I'm going to set you, then we'll talk about jihad, and then I'm going to set you off to do some on your own. Okay, great. So explain. Oops. Can you hear my son's show in the background, or is it okay? Can you still just hear me? 2 reasons. A little bit okay. Great. Shall I have a go at writing this one to you? And I'll talk about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. Okay, I'm just going to turn down my son's thingy. Great. Okay, let's turn it. Can you just go down a tiny bit? Just do this. Okay. Here we go. Right, so the time is now 10:37. I'm going to try and do this. If I could do it in 3.5 minutes, then I'd give myself more time for my essay question. I'm going to make that black so we can see what we're doing. Explain 2 reasons why Ashura is important to Shia Muslims with reference to scripture. So it's 5 marks. Okay. 1, it's 37. Reason why Ashura is important to Shia Muslims is because, I'm going to say here, it commemorates the death of Imam Hussein, who was the Prophet grandson. Okay, so that's 1 mark. I'll make it bigger so you can see it. This means that, I'm just going to be typing it. This means that by remembering the family of the Prophet, Shia Muslims are holding onto one of the 2 weighty things. The Hadith says, I leave behind 2 weighty things: the Quran and my family. Okay, have I done 2 things there? Yes, good. Let's just make it left. So that I would get 3 marks for that so far, because I've done 1, 2, 3. But I've got to do a second one. Another, and I've left a line to show my examiner. Shia Muslims is because I think I like that point about the lesser jihad, because it shows the importance of the lesser jihad, which is standing when Hussein stood up against an unjust ruler this means that by remembering this act, oh, this saying, I think I spelled it right, wasn't it? By remembering this act, Shia Muslims can think about the unjust things in their own world. I'm just going to put jihad actually rather than lesser jihad. They might be able to struggle. No, they might be able to help to stop. So have I got 5 things there? What do you think, everybody? You can't really hear it. That's okay. I've turned him down. I've got one reason why it's important is because it commemorates the death of the grandson. So that's 1. This means that by remembering the Prophet, that they're holding on to the 2 weighty things. 2. I'll do different colours. The hadith says I leave behind 2 weighty things, the Quran and my family. 3. That's my 3rd mark. Another reason why it's important is because it shows the importance of jihad when he stood against an unjust ruler. 4. Running our colours now. This means that by remembering this act, Shia Muslims can think about the unjust things in their own world and maybe help to stop them through jihad. 5. Can everyone see how that's got 5 marks? And I typed it in 3 minutes. So I'm an old lady typing in a freezing cold house and my finger's not working very well. You would be able to do that in 3 or 4 minutes in your exam, wouldn't you? Which shaves off, someone asking about time earlier, shaves you off time to help you with your 12 markers. Was that helpful to do that? Are we still here? Have I lost some of you? Still got you? Still ready to learn, Iggy? So I'm going to quickly talk to you about jihad and then we're going to have a go at some of those questions together and then I'll find us a Kahoot. Now, if that's Ashura, the other thing I thought we could talk about is jihad, which some of you mentioned earlier. Your teacher said that, yeah, they wanted me to go over this with you. So jihad literally means effort or struggle. So it's kind of been, you could argue, has it been misunderstood in the papers and in the media and in society to mean something else? The word itself literally means struggle or effort. So the Quran written in Arabic has, phrases like, fight used for it, or struggle or effort or strive. So anything that you're really putting some effort into is called jihad. Now, the Quran itself just talks about different types in that it could be, because it's in Arabic, so it's translated by different people in different ways, depending on how because every time you translate something, you kind of put your own understanding of it in there. So there isn't the division between lesser and greater jihad in the Quran, okay? That comes from the hadith. And not all Muslims would say there is such a big division between the 2 jihads. Jihad just means struggle or effort. But it is understood, and our exam board as well, because many Muslims understand it as different types of struggle. And it's helpful for them to think of these different ways that we might struggle. There could be an external fighting sort of struggle or an internal personal sort of struggle. And that's how we can understand the lesser and greater jihad. Because there's a hadith that says we've returned from the lesser jihad to the greater one, or to the greater jihad. This was said by the Prophet Muhammad returning from a battle, coming back from a struggle and effort out there, back to just living as a Muslim in a Muslim community and in that greater jihad inside your own heart to become a better Muslim and to do the right thing within your heart and your own personal actions. So it's like a daily struggle. And every time, and I've sort of linked this to prayer in Islam, praying 5 times a day. You're praying, constantly asking for that guidance and that help against temptation in that struggle, aren't you? Or you could say, the belief in angels, which is in your mock as well, can help Muslims with that daily sort of struggle. The thought that an angel is there recording the good deeds is going to help you make the right choice in that personal struggle. Another quote from the hadith, the greatest jihad is to battle your own soul, to fight the evil within yourself. So that's seen as the greater jihad. And helpfully the titles are rather long way up there, but that's okay. Whereas the lesser jihad is seen as an outward struggle in terms of a war or a battle. And sometimes that's translated as a holy war. And there are certain criteria. So by that it means there's certain things that must be met for it to be classed as a lesser jihad properly. But so different groups are going to say, oh, we're doing a lesser jihad. Well, actually, it has to fulfill these different criteria. But they are not written in the Quran as a list. but the Quran says do not transgress the limits. So that's the quote you could use. They were actually put together by Abu Bakr, who's the first caliph. So they come along later, the actual list of things, but they're accepted by Muslims as okay. It can only be a lesser jihad if these things are met. Who can remember some of them? Can you remember any of the things that make a criteria or would make it okay? Okay, it is a lesser jihad. You're not going to need to know all of them in the exam. You might need to know 2 or 3. You might need to know 2 if it says give 2 criteria for a lesser jihad. Can anyone remember any? Yeah, so not harming women or children, not destroying, not killing any religious leaders. So, for example, monks or rabbis or priests are listed. So it's not about sort of destroying the other religion, not harming religious buildings. So even though like ISIS, oh, we're gonna do a jihad. Well, sorry, they were killing Christians and Christian leaders and destroying churches. That's not a jihad, is it? To not harm. Yeah, treat your enemies as if they're your own soldiers. If you've imprisoned them, definitely. And also things like not poisoning wells, not harming the land. That's quite an important one if you think about it in terms of modern warfare. So you will cover this a lot more in peace and conflict when you do that. After this mock, probably it might be the next topic that you do. So you will have a chance to go back over and really use this information about the lessons you had as well. But there's about these limits. So there are limits that you cannot transgress. You can't go over the limits. It's like you can have a fight, but don't go too far. Don't just use it as an excuse to just, we have that in Christian teachings as well around just war theory. We have it in right now. There's this debate, isn't there, going on about what's happening in Israel and Palestine. Is it just? Is it fair? So these questions are out there anyway. But for us, we need to think about the lesser jihad has got certain criteria that must be met. It must be called by the right religious leader. And some people would argue, well, there isn't one caliph anymore who's like ruling Sunni Islam who can declare a jihad. So there can't be a jihad because there isn't that ruler. We don't have one person who oversees all of Sunni Islam, do we? And also, I think this quote's really good. Making peace is better. I like it because it's really short. And I like it because you can use it in so many answers. And yeah, that one could argue, well, maybe we should always try and find a peaceful solution. And that's another part of a criteria, is that everything else has been tried. What else can I tell you about a lesser jihad? Yeah, so making peace is better. Do not transgress the limits. We've returned from the lesser jihad to the greater one. Fantastic. So shall we I'm just conscious of the time. Just before we go, I want us to have another go at doing we could just plan these. You don't have to write them out in full. Just what points would you make for these? So I've got 17 on there and I've got 20 on here. Okay, I'll find a way of doing that. I'll add an extra one. Anyone with the link. And then I'll look for okay, let's do this to everyone. I'll look through my Kahoots and find an appropriate one for us to do for the end. Okay. Let's go. So I'm going to put your name next to each one and just bullet point your ideas. Here, can you see your names are going there? Who's next there? Oops. You need to take that number. Oh, no, the numbers are gone. Just ignore me with the numbers. Number 7, got Prince. Then we got here, Yasir. And then here we got Fatima. And then here we got Sumaya. Yeah, I should have given you all numbers at the start of them. Okay, Aurora. You're going quicker than me. Where did I get to now? Anton next. Anton there. Tasnia here. And then Julia here. Julia here and William here. And then, Anton's here twice, so you don't need to do that, do you? So then we've got Sumaya here. And then, look, we got the perfect number. All right, and then Yasmin here. Oh, look at that. Was that ordained? That I would have exactly the right number? Who knew? Unless Anton's here twice. Are you here twice, Anton? Is there 2 Antons in the year? You can just bullet point it if you like. And if you can't type in it, then pop it here. Oh, you've got to type. Well, you can just type it in the chat if you want, and I'll copy it over. I don't want you like reinstalling your computer and having updates and all that stuff. And is everybody happy if I put these docs in the Google Classroom for everyone? Because I think people who may be watching the video would quite like to see the points as well. Hope you don't mind me doing that. If you do that, don't worry. Okay. Oh, yes, Simon, great point. Okay, whilst you're all doing that, I'm going to look for the Kahoot, okay? Oops. Is it? It's still showing you that there. Okay. Great. I'm going to find the Kahoot whilst you are doing that. And it's just going to be okay, it's going to be something we've done previously. Okay, we're going to do a quick Kahoot on Muslim beliefs and practices with a Shia focus, because we talked a lot about that today. We talked a lot about that. No. You haven't enjoyed breakfast? Yeah, yeah. Do you want to come and say hi to everyone? No. Why not? Welcome back, everyone. Here we are going to do a Kahoot, a quick Kahoot to finish off the session with 10 questions on a Shia focus around Muslim beliefs and practices. Are we ready? And then I can stick it in the chat here, can't I? So everyone in meeting. Whoops, not that. Okay, waiting for players. Why haven't I got any sound? Can you hear the sound? Just gonna have a little play with it while I'm waiting for you. Oh, I see. I could have done it then. You can't see the code? Oh. Now can you? And does that mean you were looking at the answers a minute ago? Oh no. Oh, oh dear. It's been so long since I've done a Kahoot. I'm just gonna get the Kialo ready because I know people like to have that. So I can't stop dancing. It's bad, isn't it? Yeah, I should put the Kialo. Oh, you didn't see the answers just looking. Yeah, but that still gives you an advantage, doesn't it? But never mind. Okay, are we ready? I just want to put the Kialo somewhere so I don't lose it. I'm just going to stick it here. I just don't want to lose the Kialo link for everyone later. Okay. We've got everyone. We've got 18 there. We've got 19 here. I think that's everyone. Okay. Here we go. I haven't checked this, so hopefully it's going to be good for us. Sheer focus on beliefs and practices. Perfect, I think, for your mock coming up. Might not all be things on there, but I think it's good to have that background. Which of these is not in the 5 roots of faith? Yeah, which one is not in the 5 roots of faith? Yeah, Nabawa is the one in the 5 roots of faith because it's the Shia term that's used for prophethood. So I did talk about that last week with you. Risala is the one that is used in the Sunni 6 articles of faith. So that was a tricky question to start us off. Here we go. Next. We have got, who do Shia Muslims say was the first Imam? Not the first prophet, the first Imam. Oh, we have what? Yeah, Ali, well done, everybody. So Muhammad was not an imam. Muhammad's the last prophet. Adam's the first prophet. Ali was the first imam in the imamate. Watch the video if you've forgotten about that. I shall find my YouTube channel actually and send it to you. What's so special about Imam Mahdi? We haven't really talked about Imam Mahdi, but you could talk about to do the imamate and to do with Adalat, I guess. Is he remembered in Ashura? Was he the first imam? Was he given the Quran, or was he the final one that's gone into spiritual hiding? Yeah, fantastic. Well done, everybody. The Quran was given to the Prophet Muhammad. He's the last imam, could be 7th or 12th, depending what kind of Shia Muslim you are, who's gone into spiritual hiding, will return at the end of the world. So facing injustice and difficult times, many Shia imams are Shia Muslims, are reassured that it's never going to get that bad because the Imam Mahdi is there waiting for the end of the world. Where is this quote from? God will help the person who cares about other people's needs. Who said that? We just talked about it earlier today. Inspire, you did the wrong one. I can open up the chat now if people want to be able to talk to each other. That might be quite nice. I don't know how to change it. Fantastic. It is Hussein. That's what we talked about earlier. Brilliant. Okay, that's a quote you can use from Imam Hussein. Number 5. What term means the justice of God? Yeah, good boy. It is Adalat. Well done. Yeah, fantastic. We talked about that quite a bit last week. So yeah, Al-Qadra is in the 6 articles of faith, the supremacy of God's will. Maybe some of you need to just go back and remember those 2 different things, you know, the 6 articles and the 5 roots. Which of this is not in the 10 obligatory acts? It is in the questions, but it's not in the 10 obligatory acts. Let me give you the answer then. The Shahada, fantastic. Jihad is not in the 5 pillars and is in the 10 obligatory acts. Some of you may need to just sit down with a picture of, you know, the 5 roots of faith and the 6 articles of faith, Sunni and Shia, and then you might need to sit down with the 10 obligatory acts, Shia, and the 5 pillars. Just remind yourself what's on each of them. Maybe have a poster. Draw yourself a poster of the 2 different ones. What's in the 5 and the 6 and the 10 and the 5. To just drill it into your head, what's the different ones. Miss Good has said thank you to anyone who's in Miss Good's class who's here today, and so has Miss Begum. Miss Begum's very happy, particularly Iggy and Anton being ready to learn. Yes, they're very happy that you're here this morning. Okay, next, number 7. Oh, we didn't talk about this, so should we skip it? Let's skip it, it's fine. That's in the Quran. It's a very important quote in the Quran, enjoy the good, forbid the wrong, but we didn't talk about it today. That's for another lesson. Yeah, don't worry about that. Number 8. Oh, multi-select. Oh, this one. I don't know what I've done wrong with this one. Ashura is only important to Shia Muslims, true or false? And there's only really one answer for that. I don't know what I've done wrong with that. I think I did it wrong when I made the quiz. I don't know. I don't know why it said multi-select. I'm sorry, everyone. Yeah, it was false. I don't know why. It's false. I don't know why I said I don't know why it said multi-select. I'm sorry about that. Okay, number 9. Again, why has it got multi-select? 10 obligatory acts are all taken from the Quran. We haven't talked about it today, but yes, they are. I'm just going to skip that one because they are. I don't know why I've got this multi-select thing going on. Hopefully I haven't got it for this one. Okay. Do only Sunni Muslims give zakat? We haven't talked about this today, but it's quite an important one. Only Sunni Muslims give zakat. Is that true? Because it's one of the 5 pillars, isn't it? It must be. It must be true. It's in the 5 pillars, and that's Sunni, isn't it? It's actually false because Shia Muslims give zakat and khums, both. Okay, let's go. We have 5 past 11, which is fine. In 3rd place, we've got Smart Gnu. We've got Giving Urchin in 2nd place. And in 1st place, we've got Power learning. Oh, power learning. It was power learning. So who are these people? Tell me who you are. I've got to learn how to use scheduling. Okay. Okay, who is Power Lemming, Giving Action and Smart Canoe? So it's Iggy, Chloe, and Anton. Okay, and what houses are you in? Or maybe Adrian will tell me that. Iggy, Chloe, and Anton. Who was first then? Power Lemming is Chloe. Second is Iggy, and then it's Anton. Great. Okay, everybody. Well, I will stop the Kahoot sound in just a second, and I'll see you hopefully at the Christmas fair. I'm just going to get rid of that because it's annoying me. Hopefully, I'll see you at the Christmas fair. If not another time. I'm not sure whether we'll carry on with this after your mock this week. But I will let you know if it is. I'll put everything on Google Classroom and just be in touch if you need anything else. Check out the YouTube channel for other videos that might help you. Christmas fair is Thursday, the 7th of December, Christmas jumper day. So you'll all be in your Christmas jumpers anyway, or non-uniform, silly Christmas outfits, and then come and see me. I'll be up in the flexi space after school. Even if you don't stay for the fair, just come up and say hello. I'll be in school for the day, so I'll probably find you during the day anyway. I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody. Thursday, the 7th of December. After school, everything free, free food, free hot chocolate, free prizes. We've got a massive teddy bear, got to guess the name of again. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.